Hello everyone, welcome to another Voice Essentials live hangout, the last one for 2017. Oh, where has the year gone? I'm going to be honest with you everyone, and I don't think any of you would be surprised to hear me say I am going to be really looking forward to saying goodbye to this year. It has been a tough year, a great year here on the channel. But personally, a really tough year for myself and especially Jodie and our family. But we are getting through it, and Jodie has, which is often the case, has gone into chemo this afternoon, and today marks the start of the second half to her chemo journey. So we are past halfway. We're getting there. Jodie has been such a trooper, such an inspiration to everyone around her. And so thank you to all of you for your well wishes and your thoughts and your prayers. I've passed them on to Jodie, and I know that she has been encouraged by them as I have been. You never know when a community is going to be able to, when you're going to need a community to rally around you, and we have our church community, but you guys, my online community here at Voice Essentials, have certainly rallied around me and my wife and my family, my kids, and so I wanted to say thank you. Very cliche, but from the bottom of my heart, thanks very much for all of your support. 2018 is going to be a brighter year, I do believe. Now, who likes the hat? Make sure you hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the change to my usual donging of the hat. I had to go and ask my daughter for this, and she was kind enough to lend it to me, so I thought it would be a bit of fun. And today we're going to just keep everything light and airy. We're not going to get into too much depth outside of talking about your questions. It's the last opportunity that we have to spend together for 4 weeks. We are going to go. We're going to go live again for 2018, Monday, the 15th of January. Put it in your diaries. 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Look at your clock wherever you are in the world. Look at your clock right now, because it will be this time on Monday. It would be my Monday. For some of you, it'll be your Sunday, the 15th of January, that we'll go live again. I was going to keep going with the live thing, but guys, I think you can appreciate it's time for me to have a bit of a break, and that doesn't mean that we won't be having videos over the next 4 weeks. In fact, for the next 4 weeks, you will still receive 2 videos every week. I have been working like a little beaver over the last week and a half. I finished teaching over a week and a bit ago, and so in that period of time between today and Monday a week ago, I've been editing, and I think I've done about 15 videos ready for you guys over the coming 4 weeks. And so I hope you're going to be able to really continue to engage in those and still get something out of it. Because I know for many of you, you are not like us in Australia. In Australia, we're having our summer break. And so a lot of people are on holidays and have gone away to the beach or to bush or wherever they go. But for many of you, I know you're all in the Northern Hemisphere, and therefore you're not on summer break. You are still in the scurrying nature of the year, and for many of you are locked indoors because you're so cold and what have you. Some of you are really cold. I saw one degree back here. And let us know where you're from, as always. Put it in the chat section below. And I saw one comment here about, where was it? There was one comment here about what time it was and the temperature of what it was. I'm not seeing it. Sorry for that person who made that comment. But look, put in the notes section. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what the temperature is, so we've got a good handle on who you all are. We're going to come back right after the usual, start to the show, and then we're going to get pretty much almost straight away. We'll get into your questions.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
So, as you know, I'm just going to check the levels. We're not got any music going over. And look, I'm going to kick off today by saying an apology to Karen from Singwise, and she's one of our moderators here, as well as Linda, who moderates on the live chat. We did a live hangout last week, which I've got to say was one of our, in my humble opinion, was one of the best live hangouts we've ever done. But can you believe it? Because the content was so good. But can you believe it? The sound on Karen's feed into my computer was echoing. Everyone, it was not Karen's fault. It was my fault. I had a double audio feed from, and there was no way that I could hear it or detect it. And so I've found the issue. It won't happen. Well, I'm going to say it won't happen again. Who are we kidding, Daniel? We all know that I get these technical things wrong from time to time because I'm running this show all on my lonesome. So apologies for that. I knew the content was good, and do you know what? The video, Karen, just to let you know, the video has performed so well because in spite of the fact that the audio has got an annoying echo on it, the content was so good. Thank you, Karen, for hanging out with us last week live. It was such a fantastic session, and not only one of the best content sessions we've done, but it was actually also the longest. It was nearly an hour and a half, but such a great time together. So thank you to Karen for doing that. And she's just let us know that it is negative 9.4 Celsius, 15 degrees in Boston. Woo! That is cold. That beats you, Kev Tran, at -6 in Toronto. Who can tell us the coldest temperature in your part of the world? Honesty is the best policy here, everyone. At the moment, I think we're going to be giving it to Karen. Karen has currently got the coldest temperature outside, but let's see who can beat her as we go along, and hopefully we can make that stand out. What I thought we'd do, we are going to dedicate most of our session today to some Q&A. We haven't really focused on your questions for the last few Hangouts, and so I wanted to do that today to make sure that, because we're not going to get to do this, are we, for the next 4 weeks? So I wanted to give the majority of the live Hangout over to you guys to ask you questions, and I will do my utmost to answer them to the best of my knowledge. But before I do, I thought it would be fun just to jump over to here, because I thought it would be fun to actually have a look at the year in review. And I subscribe to a thing called TubeBuddy. It's a thing that helps online YouTubers like myself. Fantastic tool, and they did up a little thing here during the last couple of weeks about my year in review. But it's not just my year in review; it is our year in review. And here's some stats just to give you an idea of what's happened with the channel over the last 12 months, which has been so exciting. And I really, I saw a comment just earlier in the live chat about I think it was Nicholas was saying how much he's loving the community here. Me too, Nicholas. Me too. I think we've really got something special here at Voice Essentials and the community that we're developing together, and I am so looking forward to hanging out with you guys again in 2018. So where we started at the very beginning of this year was right back. This is how we began 2017 together. We had 9.64, if you want to be exact, subscribers with about 607,000 views, and I'd done about 190 uploads, and a vast majority of those uploads were from a show I did where I reviewed. It was called The Fifth Chair, and I reviewed TV talent shows. And I've got a very, very special video coming out at the end of January about TV talent shows, which I'll tell you more about in the new year. So it's 190 videos, and I was really pleased with that. I don't think we quite struck the, we were about 350 views off, subscribers off 10,000. So we're nearly 10,000 views, subs, when we started in the new year. And then we'll get to what we are now in a moment. So the top videos for 2017, which many of you will have seen. Now, if you haven't seen these, I've put a playlist. If you click, in fact, if you click up over there, it'll be way up over in the corner. If you click the eye, the little white eye icon, I've put a playlist to these videos, and I've put a couple of extras in there of a couple of my favorites from the year. Videos that hopefully you've seen them all, and many of you being, you guys who hang out here on a Monday are, you're the inner crowd of the community. So I'm very much surprised if you haven't, but if you haven't, then make sure you go and see them. And so the third strongest video for the year. Now, these are not the videos that have had the most views in 2017. These are the videos that I've uploaded in 2017 that have had the most views, if that makes sense. So the first one was Find Your Authentic Singing Voice. Number 2 was How to Sing Like Frank Sinatra. And we went through a whole range of things there. And then one of my favorite videos from the year was How to Sing with Mixed Voice. And there's a bit of controversy at the moment, isn't there, about mixed voice and does it exist, doesn't it exist? I think if you approach it mechanically and you think about the way the muscles work within the voice, I personally think that there is a thing called mixed voice, but in this video I go into saying, but I'm not a great fan of the term mixed voice, and over the last few months I've had a number of people offer suggestions of different terms, equilibrium, balanced. It's a whole range of different terms that people have come up with. And anyway, so you might want to go and check that out. So where does that leave us now that we've finished the year? Well, almost. We've got, 2 weeks to go. Can you believe it? It's 1 week till Christmas. Literally 1 week until Santa gets here and we celebrate the birth of Christ. So what are we going down here? So this is performance from last year versus, so we have gained, what have we got here? So we got in 2016 we got 7.4 subscribers, and this last year we've almost doubled that, not quite, but we've got 13.3 thousand subscribers, which is fantastic. And as you know, look, this channel is not all about the subscriber numbers per se. It's about the quality of subscribers that we are drawing to ourselves as a community, and that's really important. The views gained, massive uptake in the amount of people that are watching the channel, which is really exciting. But I thought this is interesting. I've actually uploaded less videos during 2017. Now, that is going to change over the new year, because in the new year I am going to be uploading essentially 3 videos a week, including on Mondays. We're going to be doing this live video at 2 p.m. Australian Standard Time. Then on Wednesdays it'll be the usual in-depth videos that we do together, where we look at a singing subject in depth, and I'd always really heavily research those, and I've just invested in a brand new, the latest, greatest text from Sadaloff, Dr. Sadaloff, or Professor Sadaloff, if you please. Fantastic range of text, which was quite exy. And that's going to be great to sort of delve into getting the latest and greatest information out of that for you. And then on Fridays, I'm starting a brand new series. In fact, it's not a new series, and I've shared this with you. I did a series back in 2016 called the Pit Stop series, where it was designed to be really short and sweet. I never really succeeded in making them short and sweet. They always sort of tended to get up into the 4 and 5 minute mark. I am committing to you then this new series that we're about to do. On Fridays, it will be a video that is less than 2 minutes in length. And so it's short, quick, very easy to watch the whole thing. And it's just going to be little reminders, little tips, little tricks to just get you thinking about a certain thing over the coming week, and remind you and get you, really get your juices flowing and keep you inspired in your vocal practice, your vocal development journey. And so I'm really excited about that, and I'm hoping that you guys will be as well. And so that's going to be fantastic. And so this is how we ended the year, everyone. We've cracked the 23,000 subscriber mark, which is really exciting. We're way up above the I'm just looking over. We haven't quite made it to 1.5 million views, but we're nearly there, which is great. And we're actually over. In fact, I think last time I looked, given the amount of videos I've just uploaded over the last week and a half, ready for the next, and through till the end of January, we're over the 300 uploads. So there you go, everyone. I thought it would be really cool to just let you guys know about that. And yeah, it's we are, a community here at Voice Essentials. We are not just simply me sitting in front of a camera and talking. I have learnt so much from all of you these past 12 months especially, as we've really invested more time and effort into coming together as a group and investing in each other's journey. As singers, as I say here many times, I am not a guru. I am happy and feel privileged to facilitate our community and to direct us. And I bring a certain level of expertise. But there's counsel, wisdom in the counsel of many, and so many of you have brought that wisdom to the channel. And I do want to say thank you to Karen and to Linda, who moderate the live chat now. Thanks, ladies, for being available to do that and keeping the chat nice and clean and healthy. So why don't we get over to our Q&A for today, and we will come back and start answering your questions for the last time in 2017 right after this. Okay, just checking that we don't have anything going on there. I don't think we've got any sound going off. So I'm just looking here to see what we've got. I'm still looking here to see if we've got another time. Yes, and I see, Karen, this is why we've got moderators. Thanks, Karen, and for jumping in there and checking in on some of those trolling. This is the first time. Here we are, the last show of 2017, and we've got these people trying to troll the chat, and I'm so glad that we've got ones like Karen and Linda to help keep everything on the straight and narrow. So we've still got, Karen is still on, I think the negative 9.4 Celsius is still winning. Gavin and Linda, yeah, well, we're southern hemisphere, everyone. We are enjoying, I think we're 31, 32 degrees outside Celsius. So, yeah. I'm just going to, what am I going to do here? Find your love. I'm just going to put user in timeout, I think. That one there. Sorry, everyone, just helping my moderators keep everything on the straight and narrow. So let's jump back up here. And I'm going to, there was a question earlier on that I just wanted to pick up on, because as I said, this is going to be our time together answering your questions. Sweet Peach asks, can you help me with breath control and support? Yeah, Sweet Peach, we certainly can. And in fact, in last week's discussion, Karen and I talked about breath management and the controversy that can surround the topic of breath management. And I straddle the two ideals of a thing called Appoggio and accent breath, and I go seeking to marry the best of those worlds into sort of my approach, which is, as I said, straddles both worlds. I have a couple of videos, Sweet Peach, over on the channel, which you can go and have a look at and look into some breath management videos, and I go into quite a bit of depth about my approach. And so it's really, when it comes to contemporary vocals, just let me make this point. When it comes to contemporary vocals, what we're not seeking to do is create a whole heap more volume. And I think when a lot of people do their singing, let me just bring this back over here, everyone. I think when people talk about singing, they often fall and they think about breathing. They're often thinking that they've got to develop bigger lung capacity. And that is not, it's certainly not my approach. It's not about more volume. Yeah, it's about how you use the volume that you have. It's about how you manage the voice. And this is why I always use the term breath management as opposed to breath control, because it's about learning to facilitate the air in such a way that is in keeping with the stylistic choice, the genres that you are wanting to work with. And so that's a really important point to be made when it comes to breath management, Peach, Sweet Peach, because I don't want you to think of it as being this thing where you want more volume, more air. Now, a side outcome of good breath management activity will give you access to what we refer to as reserve level volume. And that is, it gives you the ability, I guess, to, I often explain it, it's a bit like it enables you, instead of, when the warning light comes on in your car, the fuel warning light, and it says, it's time to pull over and get fuel. In many modern cars, the moment that light comes on, you've actually got nearly around about 100 kilometers more. Now, I'm not telling you to go and test this, but there's actually still quite a bit of fuel left in the tank before you'll run out. You don't see that warning light and suddenly the whole car stops. It's actually got this reserve volume. And what we as singers need to be able to learn to do is access that reserve volume. There's a point at which your body starts to go, I'm starting to run out of fuel. Learning firstly to know where that biological point is really important. And then learning, okay, I've still got time to go. I'm accessing that reserve point is really effective and really beneficial to developing great breath management. So, Sweet Peach, I would really encourage you to go and have a look at that. Jump over here and we'll have a look for some more work, some more questions. I think there's a question right under from Matt. What is the key to finding your own singing voice? Is it not singing along to your favorite artist and just me listening to me? Yeah, we talk about this, Matt, and as you saw, one of my videos, one of my better, more viewed videos for 2013. Let me bring this back up. Where am I? Over here. This one here. Find your authentic singing voice. Matt, you might want to go and have a look at that and check that out, because that will go into this idea of how do I establish my own sound and becoming more comfortable. It's more of a, I think for many people, not everyone, but for many people, it's more of a psychological challenge than it is a biological challenge. And so I would be encouraging you, Matt, to have a watch of that video, so you can go get to it via the link, as I said, which is going to be over there. Now you can't see my hand. And watch it via that playlist link. And it's about, firstly, spending more time with your voice. The more you sing, the more you hear your voice. And the other beneficial thing too is if you're able to set up a fold back wedge within your practice area. And this is so good for contemporary singers because, look, we sing on mics all the time. And as I've said many times, not just for volume. I think a lot of people think that, especially unfortunately some uneducated classical singers might think that microphones are only for volume, and they're not. They are there for effects, they're there for enhancing certain vocal styles, and yes, they do amplify the voice, But as far as the developing singer goes, one of the reasons I have a microphone and a fold-back wedge in my studio for my students to sing on every lesson is because I want them to become more comfortable with hearing their voice come back at them through the fold-back wedge. When you first hear that, it can be quite alarming. It's a bit like hearing yourself recorded on your own message bank. You know, if you've got a an answering machine at home, the old, analog tape. As kids we used to record our voices and then laugh our heads off because we sounded ridiculous. Well, actually, we don't sound ridiculous because that's actually how everyone else hears us. It's just that we're not used to hearing ourselves external to our own bodies. We hear ourselves echoed throughout our entire biology, and so we have sound that is reverberated, in small ways up through the eustachian tube, reverberated through the skeletal structure, and that's then combined with what we hear through our own ears externally. So we're the only people that hear ourselves unique to every other human being on the planet. And so becoming more au fait, becoming more comfortable with the fold back is really important. And then what happens is those worlds, I'm having to keep it narrow so that I sit between this thing, having to keep getting these two worlds to slowly but surely, the external and what we hear internally. I'm going to change this, I can't keep my hands up like that, that's crazy. So we've got these two worlds. You've got the external, what everyone else hears, and then that unique sound that you hear, and getting those two worlds to come closer together. Will they ever be exactly the same and fully combined? Probably not. There's always going to be a difference. But they can become so comfortably aligned that they're no longer off-putting to you. And so that is a big part of the process of you developing your own sense of comfort with your own voice. Okay, let's go back over here, everyone, and I'll go looking for another question. Some really good discussion going on as usual. Coming down here. I'm so glad you'll like the hat, everyone. Why not, It's a little bit of a bauble-y thing. Does anyone know what this is called? I don't know whether we call this a bauble. What's this? What's the end part? You get 10 points for playing if you know what this is called. So I'm just coming a bit further down here. I'm still not seeing anything from beating Karen's temperature. Okay. So you mentioned TV talent shows are on. Are any of the TV channels? Matt, I've got a new video coming out in the new year. I've also, if you go to my website, so not the channel, but my website, I've got firstly a whole series called The Fifth Chair, and it's where during 2014 and 2015, if I'm remembering correctly, I actually did a live review every week of the Australian TV talent show, The Voice. And I actually analysed it and went through each week and kind of pointed out the things that were being done to manipulate outcomes and those sorts of things. I am not a conspiracy theorist when it comes to this, Matt. This is just quite well known. I adhere to quite well known facts about these programs, and also combining that with my experience with having had clients, students, audition and go through to the very top levels of these programs. I had one student who got to, I think he got out at number 6 for Australian Idol back in 2000 something, and also watching other students go through the voice process. In my humble opinion, it's Matt that's asked this question. Yeah, in my humble opinion, Matt, these programs are really dangerous to you, not only from an exposure point of view, but also from the point of view of your psychology as a singer. I've seen these programs absolutely destroy people, and it's all done with a smile, and the problem is it's all done in front of a national audience, in front of millions of viewers, and it's just devastating to watch. I've got a new video coming out, Matt, that I want you, in fact, everyone, I'm going to have a new video coming out at the end of January, all things being equal, which I'm hoping that you will watch and that you will share. I am really actually quite passionate about getting the word out about these programs and how damaging they are to a good deal, a lot of people. Are they damaging to every singer that goes on them? No, of course they're not. But unfortunately, you never know whether you're going to be that person that doesn't psychologically handle the program. And I'm not willing to play the lottery with my own psychology, my own mental health, and I'm not wanting to see you play Russian roulette with your own mental health. And so my recommendation is never audition for a TV talent show under any circumstances. I know that's going to stand in direct contrast and contradiction to what so many people say. That is my professional and personal view, and I've written about this subject. I've studied it quite a fair bit, and so for what it's worth, Matt, that's my humble opinion. That may not resonate with you, and I'm cool with that. I've had students where I've had a lengthy conversation with them about this process. I've revealed, all the things, drawn back the curtain, revealed all the nasties about the programs, and the student has still made the decision to go onto the program. At that point, I jump in and I wholeheartedly support that individual, because at the end of the day, I want to support my students and my clients, and as long as they go into it with their eyes wide open, then that's completely fine. Okay, so jumping down here, have we got some more questions, everyone? Yes, we do. I don't even know what to ask you. Well, Gavin, you over the last 12 months have asked quite a few questions. That's very true. So, very good. And awesome dating site was banned. Good on you, Linda. Thank you for clearing that out. We just don't need whatever the conversation was going on for. So there. Okay. We've got someone being, anyway, I'm going to keep going. Guys, Linda and Karen, I'm going to leave the responsibility of keeping on top of all of that to you guys. Tiffany's asked here, why do I sound kind of nasal? Tiffany, the question you have to ask yourself firstly is, and this actually harkens back to the question we were asked earlier about finding your own authentic voice. Firstly, you've got to actually ascertain, do you sound nasal to everyone else? You may well find, and this can happen, that you sound nasal to you, but to everyone else, you don't. Now, this is an interesting little phenomenon. There's a lot of research that has gone into this. And again, it's in part because we hear ourselves so uniquely. If you find that you are sounding nasal to your audience, let me just get out of here, everyone. If you find that you are sounding nasal to everyone, Tiffany, then I would encourage you to firstly, there's a video on the channel about nasality, and you can go looking for that. It was one of the 2016 videos. You'll have to search back a little way. But it's all got to do with what your soft palate is doing, which is a piece of, it's actually a collection of muscle fibers sitting at the back of the palate. So if you take your tongue and run it across the roof of your mouth until it goes soft at the back, then you've got this soft palate that, for certainly in Aussies, Aussies have really lazy soft palates, and that's why we're often caricatured as G'day, mate. How's it going? Strike me pink. Mate, that's a galah. That's not a knife. This is a knife. So what happens is our soft palate as Aussies tends to sit really low, and as a result, a lot of our sound is directed through our nasal cavity. And so we're often perceived at a cultural level as being quite nasalized, more nasalized than other cultures. And so that certainly can be often the case. And if you then combine that with an overly activated aryepiglottic sphincter, or what many people just these days refer to as the twanger, which is a muscle that sits around the edge of the epiglottis, then you get twang combining with nasality, and you get this really, really sort of witchy sound. And so, anyway, go and have a look at one of the videos, Tiffany, over on the channel, and hopefully you can learn something from that. Okay, coming down here, some really great questions today, everyone. Thank you. Yuhui, which is Yuhui's been joining us quite a bit, which is fantastic. Is there any tips for beginning singers to be able to hear their own recorded voice and be able to where they need to improve? Convoluted sentence there, Yuhui. Yuhui, there's actually a video, one of the less viewed videos on my channel, actually comparing three video recording processes and comparing the differences between recording onto your smartphone, recording into different mics. Yeah, 3 different mics, and one of them was the smartphone. So you can go and have a look at that, and that kind of covers what you're asking there. One of the challenges when it comes to recording our voice, and in fact Matt's chimed in with a question directly underneath there, sometimes it's my recording isn't what I think I hear. Guys, one of the challenges of recording our voices is we have an expectation, because we listen so much, we're bombarded so much. I'll jump out of here again. We are bombarded so much with studio recordings, and we don't even need multi-million-dollar studio recording houses any longer. People can produce really high-end recording results out of their bedrooms if they've got the right equipment. The challenge is many of you and I, well, I've kind of got half-decent equipment, but many of us here on the channel don't. And so what a lot of us do is record ourselves on our smartphone. That smartphone, they're getting better, they are getting better, but the smartphones are not designed to replicate or to, what's the right word, reproduce the voice at the level that our ears are hoping to hear. And so, when Beyonce or Ed Sheeran or you name your favorite artist, Sting or Elton John or all of these people, whenever we hear them, their voices have been, from the moment they produce the voice in the studio, it will go through millions of dollars worth of equipment. If you've never been in a professional end studio before, you cannot conceptualize how many rack-mounted modules that these voices will pass through before they then hit the tape. Well, it's actually not tape anymore, but I'm showing my age. Before they hit the recording that is being done by often a multi-award winning producer that knows just how to tweak that voice to get the very best result out of it. And so we're lulled into this idea that, that person just wakes up, that artist just wakes up and that's how they sound. That's a bit like thinking that a supermodel, whenever they, roll out of bed, they look like they do on any, magazine cover. No, the voice, the supermodel has been, prettied up and makeup and hair and the whole deal underneath the best lights and whatever. And then once the photo's taken, it's photoshopped and everything. The same thing goes with the voice. These artists have been photoshopped, airbrushed. Now, there is nothing wrong with that, and I've got a whole other video again. I've got a lot of videos about these subjects, and where we talk about the fact that there's nothing wrong with things like auto-tune, and all of these technologies actually can really benefit us. The challenge for us, though, is to understand and to see through what is being presented as reality as being virtual reality. It's really not real. That singer doesn't roll out of bed sounding like that. And neither do you. We could literally take you and put you into the same environment as a Beyonce or an Ed Sheeran, and you would be amazed at what those award-winning producers can do with your voice. It is literally amazing what they're capable of doing now. So be really careful that you hold yourself to reality as a reflection as opposed to virtual reality is what I'm getting at there. Okay, back over to the questions, and we're not going to spend much longer, everyone, because our time together for 2017 is quickly approaching its end. Jumping down here. Okay, so we've had a bit of nastiness going on. I'm sorry to hear that, everyone. Linda's banned Awesome dating site as well. So, yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, isn't it? These people want to sort of jump in and get nasty, but you guys are doing a great job. Let me come down here. Kev Tran, what strategies do you recommend if you want to hear what your voice sounds like to others without recording? What strategies do you recommend if you want to hear what your voice sounds like to others without recording your voice? Well, as I said, as we talked about back in the earlier in the show, having a fold-back wedge will go a long way. So a fold-back wedge is a monitor on the floor that is going to have the voice. You're singing through a mic. It's coming down into the through a sound desk or a whatever, and it's coming out through the speaker on the floor often, or sometimes if you've got some dollars, you can invest in some in-ear monitors, and it's coming back at you. That's certainly one way. Look, there's actually no way to 100% only hear your voice as others would hear it without hearing a recording of the voice, Kev Tran. So, people talk about, putting a finger in their ear and all those sorts of things, but to 100% only hear yourself as others hear you, you must record yourself. You can't be simultaneously producing the sound, so that's important. Matt was told he doesn't need a microphone. Is that a compliment? Matt, it's a compliment in so much as that says to me that you've got a big voice, but the times that I have voices step into my studio that behave in that way, I often describe them as being a little bit of an unbroken stallion. A whole heap of strength, big muscly voice, majestic to listen to, but unruly, wild, untamed. And so, on one hand, you're being complimented, Matt, and you definitely need to hear that. On the other hand, it's a challenge to break that voice in, to tame it, to bring it under your control so that, when you open your mouth, you don't just have this voice bursting forth and you having no control over it. And the only way to tame, to break that voice in, is to systematically, and often the best way to do this is with a private singing teacher, so they're able to constantly give you feedback. No, too big, still too big. What do you mean it's too big? It's still too big. Pull it right back, because often our physical experience of the voice, when you, Matt, for example, as a person who obviously has a big voice, thinks to themselves, yeah, but I'm really quiet, it can still be too big. And so learning to back that off is often best done with a great singing teacher. Matt Matt still remembers cassettes. I know, Matt, cassettes, hey. Do you know what? I reminisce, and there's a certain nostalgia that goes with cassettes, but let's not kid ourselves. The modern technology of MP3, like digital, is so much better than cassettes, and I think people have got an argument when they talk about LPs and the warmth that an LP gave. There really isn't an argument, is there, for cassettes? They were pretty nasty. Okay. Coming down here to Camilo. Dr. Dan, I've watched your videos about voice classification, but I don't have it defined my voice type yet. I can sing from an A2 to a B4 without problem. Yet my teacher says I'm a baritone. Please help. Well, Camilo, that to me sounds about right. That's probably where I would have gone. If you're singing to a B4, that it may well be that you're a baritone that is still learning to sing to the full anatomical extremes of your voice. There's over the last couple of years, we've had some. Sorry, not last year. Well, it's about 18 months. I've got where am I going here? I've got a video on the channel where I did it with Mark Baxter, a singing teacher from the US, and a really nice guy. And he's a baritone, considers himself a baritone, and I've got no reason to doubt the fact that he knows his own voice classification. Now, we did a video together where we were comparing the two. You may have seen it. There are a lot of people that disagree with our classification of that Mark is a baritone and I'm a tenor. No one's disagreeing that I'm a tenor for obvious reasons. In fact, there was a great explanation. It was only like 30 seconds long. Karen from Singwise did a great interview with Kenneth Bozeman, one of the world's leading experts on vocal resonance and last week. You guys have got to go across to her channel and watch that. It's a lengthy video and it's in depth, but I really encourage you to watch it. I am going to try and I haven't sent him a message yet, and Karen, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to try and get Kenneth onto this channel in the new year to basically to go through a similar thing to what I want to see if we can make it even more simple, because I still found many of the concepts he was talking through really still very challenging to understand, because I'm so new to this whole acoustical resonance sort of stuff. But nonetheless, there was a brief moment during that interview where Ken talked about why some people misinterpret who's a baritone and who's a tenor. It was only 30-40 seconds, maybe it was a bit longer, 2 or 3 minutes, where he talked about it, but you might want to jump across to Karen's channel. Who was it that asked this question? I'm looking back over here. Sorry, I've lost the name of the person that asked the question and who I'm answering, and I'm sorry. Anywho, you can go jump. Here we go, Camilo. So you can go across to Karen's channel at Singwise here on YouTube and watch that video, which is just fantastic because he really is the world's leading expert on it. But Karen had all the right questions to ask, which is a real credit to her on how much she actually knows about this subject as well. And I know she's got other videos about the subject, so jump over there and have a watch of that. Okay. Okay, so Bartek, we are going to. This might actually. I might give the last question to Bartek. I've just seen Linda's comment about the video from Kenneth Bozeman. Yeah, my head's still spinning too. Linda, it's such a different way of approaching the voice. I know it's not different, but it kind of is when your brain approaches singing and singing teaching from a particular angle. So it's getting your head around it. Okay, Bartek, you might just be, and Kevin Craig, Kevin, good to see you, Kevin. You might just get to be our last question for 2017. Here we go. If there's a live show, how much of the final sound depends on the singer and how much on the sound engineer? Do you know what? When I do a live show, Bartek, I become the sound engineer's best friend because I know that that sound engineer is literally the make or break of whether I sound any good or not. One of the challenges is when you're doing, certainly even, actually you don't need to be doing big gigs for this to be the case, but certainly on those big gigs where you've got, big sound reinforcement, front of house, and you can't actually really hear what the front of house is doing. You can only hear what you're hearing through the floor monitors, which is often different to what's coming out front of house in so much as different effects, different delays, etc. That sound engineer has a lot of power in the sense that they are making decisions on your behalf, and if you have got on the wrong side of them, you'd like to think that these people are, that every sound engineer you work with is, professional. It is not always the case. And so it is so important for you to firstly befriend those people and make sure that you, really, tell them very clearly what you're looking for, be polite, because they do have a lot of power to make or break your performance, and to get things right or wrong. And more often than not, they get it right. But you certainly don't want them to be getting it wrong on purpose. Let's put it that way. So there you go. Tiffany is in Indonesia. So it's good to have you join us, Tiffany, again. So there you go. We have had a really great year. It has been such a wonderful year to hang out with you all. And the time has come for us to finish for 2017. We're going to go on a 4-week hiatus. Not a hiatus, a hiatus. And we're going to take a break. I wish all of you a safe, Merry Christmas and a blessed holiday season. And look, if you don't celebrate Christmas, then I hope the next 4 weeks are happy and healthy for you. But I'm going to take a break with my family now and really just enjoy the time with them. As you would expect me to, and I expect you to do the same. But look, keep an eye out. We're still going to be having videos, 2 videos a week for the next 4 weeks, and then we'll be going to 3 videos once we come back live on the 15th of November. 15th of November. 15th of January, Monday the 15th is when we go live again. Remember to subscribe to the channel if this is the first time you've ever been here. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, because that's when you'll get the notifications to let you know when we're going live so that you don't miss a single moment in time. But for now, I'm going to call it a day. We are done. I'm so thankful for the time that we've been able to spend together, and I really do look forward to seeing you again all in 2018. As I always sign off, Merry Christmas. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.